All right, BMX fans, wherever you may be in the world, welcome to the very first episode of the BMX Commentator podcast. I am your host, Rich Eames, World Cup and World Championships BMX commentator. And we're just here talking to the great and the good of the BMX world. And episode one, I've certainly brought one of the great and the good in here. If you've ever been to a UK BMX national, you will know this gentleman, or at least you will know the products that he makes, because you can't walk 10 feet without seeing somebody wearing one of his designs. So he's been part of our community for a good few years now, and it is my absolute pleasure to bring into the very first episode of the BMX Commentator podcast, Mr. B73 himself, Dave Hall. Dave, hello, sir. How are you?
That's the greatest introduction I've ever had in my life, Rich. That was fantastic. Thank you very much.
That's all right, mate. No problem at all. Certainly list you up there in the great and the good. So I just wanted to bring you on first to kind of introduce you to the BMX community kind of formally, because everybody knows who you are and they know what you do. But I don't think anybody really knows the story behind B73Ts and how it came to be. So I think that's as good a place to start as any. So I just want to talk about the origin story, how the brand came to be, what's the significance of the name B73. Just give us a bit of background and a bit of history on how it all started.
Oh, wow. So I've been in this sort of BMX national scene now as a brand since 2012. But the story sort of starts around about 2010. I was big into collecting old school BMXs and restoring rally burners in particular. Everyone's favourite or least favourite BMX, depending who you talk to. I was sort of heavily into that scene, the old school BMX scene, Rad BMX. There was the rally burner forums and stuff, and I was heavily into that. And I had my own website. And randomly, one evening, I was sat watching a Champions League football match, and I got an email from a stranger asking if I could source a particular rally burner bike. And I went back to this person and said, yes, I can sort you one of those out. And this guy said, well, I'm in America. Could you get that shipped to America? And I'm like, yeah, no problem. A few emails went back and forth. And then this guy told me who he was. And I didn't believe him. And so I asked him to prove who he was. And so he sent me a photograph of himself on his webcam. And it was Robbie Williams, of all people in the world. I'd emailed Dave Hall in Barnsley, asking if I could source him a rally burner BMX. And a friendship sort of grew from me sourcing in this first bike. And I think in total, I sourced and restored and built him 5 BMXs altogether. 2 of which one was a build that he gave to Gary Barlow, and one he gave to Mark Owen, because they had rally burners as kids as well, as everybody from the sort of who grew up in the 80s had. That was 2010, and I've always been into graphic design. And I was doing a bit of freelance work.
Sorry, Dave, I'm just marveling at the fact that you've built bikes that have gone to all of Take That. That's insane. That is insane.
3 out of 5. Yeah, 3 out of 5 is not bad, is it?
Oh, the clanging sounds as you dropped all the names. I'm like, oh my god, I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, there is awesome. Photograph of. Yeah, there's a photograph of the 3 of them at the Etihad Stadium on the rally burners that I sort of restored for them. It was in one of one of Robbie's calendars or something.
Head blown, mind blown completely.
I'll share the picture.
Nuts. Yeah, send it to me. I'd love to see it.
Maybe you can drop it into the podcast somewhere.
Yeah, but bizarrely enough, I seem to recall with Robbie Williams as well that on his MTV cribs in his house, I'm pretty sure he had a Hutch Trickstar. Is that right?
Yeah, I got him that.
See, I remember all these random details, but that is insane. That's a crazy story. And that was kind of the genesis behind B73.
Yeah. I was chatting. We chatted about BMX and all sorts, and we built up a bit of an online friendship. At the time, he wasn't sort of heavily in the music scene. He was having a bit of a hiatus, doing other creative stuff, and I helped him out with some artwork from a graphic perspective, just sort of casually with him. And he invited me in October of 2010 to go and stop at his house for a week to look at designing the artwork for his forthcoming album, which just blew. I waking up to that kind of email, that blew my mind. I'm just a guy in Barnsley who was just a freelance graphic designer, built up this friendship with this guy, and he asked me to go out to LA, and I spent a week at Robbie's house, spending the days in his studio listening to new songs, with the BMXs that I built in the corner, designing artwork for what I'd hoped would be on the album cover. But yeah, let's put Robbie to one side. I came home from that November, and I think I knew pretty soon after I got back that the stuff we'd done was never going to make it onto the album cover. For whatever reason, it's that dream job. I think the sort of direction that we went down was never going to be sort of commercially viable.
Right.
Yeah, I'll leave that between me and Robbie. The things that he wanted on the album cover, I don't think we're ever going to work in the mainstream. But it was great fun and a massive learning curve for me, a great experience. And I came back buzzing by what I'd been involved in, but literally, it was a really hard one to sort of swallow when I got back, thinking I've missed the boat on this one. This is not gonna come to fruition what I hoped it would be, and it didn't. So I took a big deep breath going into 2011, and that was 2010. He first got in touch. It was November of 2011 that I came back from LA, and I took a deep breath at the beginning of 2012, and I had two great passions in life: BMX and design. And I needed some sort of creative outlet. I knew that the Robbie thing that had run its course, and I wanted to sort of get my graphic passions into the BMX world. And so on January the 7th, I think it was, or 17th, January 17th, I put my first T-shirt online, and literally 20 minutes after I put it online, I sold my first one to a guy called Johnny Rankin.
Right, Johnny Rankin. Sprung mountain bike videos, or am I thinking of the wrong guy? That's Alex Rankin, isn't it? Right, sorry, I am thinking of the wrong guy. No, it's all right, that's fine. It's just the surname that triggered something in my head. I'm thinking I've heard that surname before, but I suddenly realised it was the wrong bloke. So what was that first design, Dave?
I can show you. I've got one here. You'll recognise it, Rich.
I do recognise that T-shirt.
The Motorhead
the Warpig one.
Yeah, that was T-shirt number 1. That went online on January the 17th, 2012. And several hundred designs later, we're still rocking them out. Yeah,
you do know one of those T-shirts has been worn quite regularly in Houston, Texas.
Yes, your friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Brian Summerall out there in Houston. He's rocking that T-shirt to this very day.
Yeah, still sell them at Nationals 12 years later. Always a popular one. Anybody that's a bit of a Motorhead fan or a rocker that loves a bit of BMX, yeah.
Yeah, so you said you've done several hundred designs since then.
Yeah.
So where do these ideas generate from? Can you tell me a little bit about your creative process?
Oh, it can come from anywhere, to be fair. I subscribe to a lot of different design blogs, graphic design blogs. I follow hundreds of different graphic designers on Instagram and on Pinterest and things like that. And I've got notebook after notebook after notebook full of different ideas. In fact, I've got this is the original notebook. This is the one that went to LA, and it's got some Robbie bits in the front. In fact, I think there's actually some Robbie Williams. There's a bit of Robbie Williams handwriting there. But then literally 5 pages in, and we start looking at me sent me 3 ideas and t-shirt ideas that I started having. So yeah, I can get my ideas from sort of all over the place. I'll see something on a billboard somewhere and think, oh, there's a bit of a twist on that we could turn into a BMX design t-shirt, or it can be a phrase that I hear, or things that you guys say when you're commentating, key phrases, bit of high low and all that, and let's go racing. And
amazing. I'm glad we produced some inspiration for you. That's quite a cool thing to hear, actually. I'm really pleased with that. So have there been any particular products for you that have been your standouts, either for positive reasons or negative reasons? Is there anything that's kind of made you go, oh, I'm so glad I did that? Or have you gone, oh, I thought that might have worked but didn't? You know, every business has those scenarios, don't they?
I've had some proper winners. The national series stuff that always sells really well, I think, because that's sort of a memento for people that take part in the national series every year. Been there, got the t-shirt sort of idea. So it's that they're always a great sale. The Motorhead one that I just showed you earlier, that's always continued to sell. One of my favourites recently has been the Ross Cullen to collab with Ross. As you can see, I've got his race shirt there behind me as well. Big mate of Ross's. I've known Ross since, like yourself, since he was sort of this tall at Preston.
I've always been taller than that.
Yeah. So working with collabing with Ross on that's been one of the highlights of the last recent years. But yeah, they don't all sell well, as you say. Every business has those. I was thinking about this earlier because you did sort of preempt me that some of the questions that we might discuss. And I did do a t-shirt once, and I thought it was a great idea because I like sort of phrases that you can put a twist on. And give them a BMX. So I had this phrase came to me: good things come to those who wait is the phrase. So I did a t-shirt that said good things come to those who gate.
Yeah, I see where you're going with that.
Which I thought was quite a good t-shirt, and I sold one, and I can even tell you who brought it, James Tresman.
Fantastic. Well, Trez has always been a philosopher, so that doesn't surprise me that he bought that t-shirt.
He loved it. He loved it, and I think he was the only person ever bought one. So that's one of the ones that bombed. I've had a few that haven't sold major, but that's, I guess, the business model and the print method that I used more back then allowed me to print sort of minimal runs, 1s, 2s, 3s. So it's never a sort of major thing where I've had 50 pieces printed and only sold one, and I'm using the rest to polish cars for the next 6 months.
Yeah. Do you know what? You actually said something there that triggered a question in my mind. You talked about the relationship with Ross Cullen. Obviously, you've developed relationships with, numerous riders and teams over the years, and people have come to you for things being designed and things of that nature. How was that built for you as you've built the brand? How have the relationships built alongside that, and who are some of the people that you've worked with?
I love. It's one of the things I love about BMX more than anything is the community, and being trackside and chatting. I love the accessibility of the athletes in BMX, from the little 7-8-year-olds and younger, right up to the elite athletes. They'll drop by the gazebo and chat. You'll get a fist five from a world number one, and you'll get a fist five from little Johnny who's racing his first national. And I love that about BMX. And I guess I've been because I've been in the national scene for the last sort of decade. I've seen riders grow, and like Ross and Beth. I've known Beth Shriver since she was a lot younger. Beth and a family, Paul and Kate. I've known them for quite a long time. Upcoming star Freya Chalice. I've known Freya since she was sort of racing with Stu Dixon, was it? I think it was Stu Dixon's team. Agro Racing, yeah. racing,
in the
yeah.
black and yellow kit.
Yeah, fantastic. And then it was, I think it was DK. He had a little DK team as well, didn't he?
I think so, yeah.
Freya was on that. So yeah, I've built up sort of those friendships and relationships with all those guys. And when Beth and Kai were so gloriously triumphant in the Olympics with the gold and silver, I approached both of them and asked if we could do a commemorative T-shirt for the two of them, and they were both sort of agreeable to that. And again, that was superb just to work with those two as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems that you have the respect of pretty much every rider, you know, out there in terms of, you know, like I said at the beginning of this podcast, you can't go 10 feet at a national without seeing somebody wearing one of your designs. I mean, you've only got to look in my kids' closets, you know, both, you know, my lad who races and my daughter as well. We must have, oh God, hundreds of T-shirts more or less, and certainly quite a few hoodies as well. So yeah, we've been followers of the B73 brand since day one, and yeah, you're a staple in our house, Dave. That's for sure.
Yeah, thank you. It is a buzz to see the products around trackside, and just the loyalty as well of the BMX community. They're brilliant. People continue to come back, and always with positive feedback on the designs, the quality of the t-shirts, and yeah, that's ace. Quick story: the first time I ever saw a B73 t-shirt outside of the BMX world, I was in Manchester Airport. I was boarding a plane to go to Fuerteventura, and I went to the toilet before our flight, and I was walking past. There was another queue for a flight going to Lanzarote. And I clocked the tag on the bottom of someone's t-shirt, and it was a B73, and I was absolutely made up.
Right? Did you actually speak to the person who was wearing it?
Not at the time. No, it was. I've forgotten her name now. It's really bad. Rob Hawker's wife,
Louise.
Yeah, it was Louise. She was stood in the queue waiting to board a plane, and it was either a hoodie or a t-shirt. And I just clocked the tag, and I ran back to Emma, who was waiting for me in the queue to board our plane. I've just seen one of my t-shirts outside of BMX, which
That's
was great.
Amazing. Yeah,
it was.
God. Well, I'm actually wearing one right now. I'm wearing my North Region t-shirt from last year with all the dates on the back. Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant.
So yeah, certainly, like I said, it's a staple for us at our house, so it's all good. So I mean, you've obviously kind of gone through the best parts of owning the brand. Are there any other things that really, really shout at you for being a really positive part of owning a brand like B73? Because you're in such a small niche, like you say, and you've got such a small community, and then you see stuff outside. Is there any other positives to owning the brand that you know you've seen over the years?
Yeah, it has got me outside of the BMX thing. Obviously, BMX is such a small, like you say, it's such a niche market, such a small sport. It's never going to be, at least for me, a full-time job. Obviously, B73 Creative is the overarching company. My graphic design stuff, building websites, apparel design, logos, branding, that kind of thing. But I guess the relationships that I've built up within BMX have brought work from outside of BMX, because every parent of a rider that comes to the store to buy a t-shirt works somewhere or has a business, and it's been a great network for that reason. It's been great to sort of work with the mums and dads outside of BMX on other graphic work and other products, and yeah, that's been really good.
Yeah, just nice to extend kind of your reach into, like, you know, commerce and industry and that kind of stuff. But you know, everybody needs an identity and an image to go with their actual business, and you know, the likes of yourself and ENV are certainly, you know, the two that I kind of would direct anybody to if they were looking for, you know, vehicle signage, graphics, apparel, whatever it might be. I would always, you know, push people in those two directions, because I know, like yourself and, you know, the guys at ENV are solid, and they'll do an absolutely cracking job. So yeah, it's nice to see that your business has kind of expanded off the back of BMX, and things have started to come together. Is there any negatives to running a brand like B73? I know you said it was very niche and it was never going to be your full-time job, but is there anything where you kind of gone, oh, I wish that hadn't happened, or anything? I'm not asking you to kind of drop anybody in the stun, but
the positive side of it is doing something that you love, because I love graphics. I love being creative. So to get to be able to do that as my job is absolutely superb. But because there's only me, and it's just I'm a one-man band at the minute, I am sort of designer, marketer, production, dispatch, invoicing. That's it. That Dave is all of those. So that would be sort of the only negative, really, is the fact that it's only me.
Yeah.
And I guess like any business, the nice part is making the product, selling the product, or sending the invoice is nice. Getting paid for the invoice, that's not always easy. That's probably a negative side of it. But in the main, most people are really cool. So yeah.
Oh, good. That's good to hear. Have you kind of got any dream products that you want to produce for B73?
Oh, dream products. I'd like to continue doing the same, but better. Just to make the designs better. I can see an arc from a creative arc that I've gone on from 2012 to 2024. Personally, people might look back and say your stuff's not as good as it used to be. I look at it and see with the improvements in the designs myself from a graphic design perspective, and I think the product itself has got better as we've developed. I guess one of my favourite things is trying to bring a new product to BMX. I think it was probably 7 years ago. I was chatting with a wholesaler that I buy my the backpacks from, and I was asking what other bags they did hold all wise and stuff like that. And I was looking for a bag that we could fit a helmet in, because I've seen there were some helmets, some bags that you could get for a helmet, and I was looking for a helmet bag, and they sent me a sample of this one particular bag. So I chatted with a rider, Ava Brown, you'll know. And I just said, Ava, I've got this bag. I'll put your name on it. We'll put your team logo on the front. Take it to racing. Use it for 6 months. Come back to me. Give me some feedback. Does it work as a bag? Will it hold up? Can you fit a helmet in? Can you get a kit in it? Give it to Ava. 6 months later, she brought it back and went, Dave, absolutely superb. So I put those out to market. And they went like wildfire and continue to sell so much. Well, to be fair, other brands jumped on the bandwagon. Other people in the same sort of marketplace as myself started doing the same product, because it was easy enough to find the product online. And some of the bigger brands have even had bags made the same for their own brand. Done a really good job of it as well. Yeah.
I think I know the brand you're talking about.
Yeah, we all know. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Good friends of mine.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not like you're going to fall out over it, because they've got their business and like you've got yours. So it's not a situation where you're going to end up going, oh, you've done something that I've done, because it happens in every business all over the world. So.
And between us, we have worked together on other stuff as well. So there is a two-way relationship between the two of us. So that's really cool. Really cool.
Yeah, even better. Yeah. Right. There's always one question I've wanted to ask you, and I've never asked you it, and I'm going to ask you it right now. So you go to races and you've got your gazebo up and you're doing what you do, and you're providing the BMX community with the products that you provide with, but you never get to stand at the side of the track, Dave, and watch the racing. How frustrating is that?
It's gutting, to be fair. Sometimes, depending on the venue, you can almost feel like you've not even been to a race. That you literally you could have been anywhere. You could have been on a market in the middle of town. And the indoors got positives and negatives. The negatives are you've no idea there's racing even happening. the positives are obviously it's warm and dry when the weather's wet.
Absolutely.
And your stock's all safe, and your gazebo's not going to fly away. But there are other venues outside where Cumbernaul's brilliant because we're up on the hill on that top row. And we can look down over the track and you can see, and that's really cool. I was really lucky last year as well at Manchester Platt Fields because the organisers put me right near the finish line, and it's the best spot I think I've had at a national.
Right.
Because if you're in the middle of the track, Rich, so you see everything. But to be at the finishing line, it was you see the emotions of BMX from the kid that wins, comes over the line, pumped, screaming. So much joy and passion when they come on the line, and then you see that kid that rolls in fifth in the semi. To see the opposite end of the spectrum of emotions, it was incredible to be at Manchester Platt Fields last year and just experience BMX from that angle.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's something I never thought of actually. I always kind of just see you stood there and I think to myself, Dave's not going to get to see any of this racing. It must kill him. Do you know what I mean?
99% of the time, I really don't.
Like at the Brits, I think last year at Derby, you were like at the far side of the field, and it was like you couldn't have been any further away.
Yeah, never saw a single gate drop, unfortunately.
Oh well, never mind.
I do occasionally get to wonder if my wife Emma's there with me.
Yeah,
that allows me to have a wander across, and other people occasionally watch my stall for me while I go and have a quick glance at the racing. And if I'm really prepped on the finals day, on the finals in the afternoon, if I plan my packing away when start packing away as the semis sort of come to an end, I can usually get packed up, loaded in my vehicle, and sort of watch the last few finals as well. So I do occasionally get to do that as well. I do sometimes get to see a little bit of racing, but in the main,
right,
not much.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. I never knew that. That's mint.
Yeah,
that's really good. So, with regards to the actual future of B73, what do you see as the future for the brand?
More of the same, hopefully, but better designs.
Yeah.
I love doing what I do, and I love sort of feedback I get from the BMX. Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. And the BMX community are really cool, and I love I call them the BMX family because that's what they have become to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Like me too. I call it the BMX family.
Yeah, the amount of fist fives, high fives, hugs on a BMX national weekend, it's superb. And yeah, I continue doing what I'm doing and just try and make things better. I have thought about trying to develop into different kinds of products, but yeah, it's a small market. Who knows what the future may hold?
Okay, that's cool. In terms of a legacy, then, would you like to leave a legacy within the sport from B73, and what do you think that might be?
Oh, a legacy, that sounds a bit final, this, Rich.
I know, yeah. It's not like, we're getting rid of you next week or anything, Dave. Do you know what I mean? But if like 20 years time, I'll give you an example, like UGP products, underground products, Ron Bonner, there's probably still people walking around in UGP hoodies to this day. I know Dylan Clayton's still got UGP memorabilia in his house because I've seen it.
I've seen it recently.
Yeah. A brand like UGP, which was iconic in the kind of early to mid 90s, sponsored Dylan, sponsored Dale. That's the kind of the yardstick I was kind of thinking of in terms of the legacy that I think B73 could leave.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to think that in sort of 20 years' time, people say, "Do you remember B?" I won't be trackside. I'll be 70.
I'm sure you will.
So maybe I will. Yeah, maybe I will. Maybe I'll still be looking at terrible designs. I would hope that people will remember the brand in 20 years' time. Do you remember B73 tees and the guys that used to do the national series merchandise and Hopefully there's still some t-shirts knocking about in 20 years' time. People have got saved up. I know, like yourself, I know you've got drawers full of the stuff from 10 years ago when we first started to become friends. So yeah, I would hope that we've played a small part in the last sort of 12 years, 13 years that I've been sort of involved in the scene. I would hope that we've made a bit of a mark from a sort of trackside perspective. I feel like we're part of the family. We're part of the scene. It's I love national weekends.
Can't be as good national, can you?
No, you can't. No, it's great. Yeah, so I would hope the legacy. If there is no longer any B73Ts, I would hope that we are missed. If anything, that would probably be my biggest legacy, that we're missed. I would hate to just disappear into the sunset and nobody realised we'd gone.
Yeah, no, totally, and I don't think that'll happen. I think there's too many of your products knocking around for anybody to forget you anyway, which is good. Yeah. I've written down here as well a question, and I don't know how you're going to beat this, but the craziest story in B73's history. Have you got anything that tops the Robbie Williams story?
Oh. There's something linked to the Robbie Williams story, because I guess what we didn't speak about, Rich, is how it became B73, have we?
No, that's very true. Yeah, I've got that down to ask you as well.
Yeah. So I answer that first.
Go on, fire away.
Yeah. Well, when I midlife crisis, mid-30s, decided I wanted to recapture my youth and get the BMX side as a kid. So I bought a rally burner, restored a rally burner, and
which burner was it? Which was the first one?
I had a Rally Extra burner, which was Rally's attempt at having an ET Kuwahara, the one that was white with the red fade on. It was Rally's attempt at making an ET bike. So yeah,
well, I had the night burner.
Oh, quality.
The one with the non-oval tubing one, the 84 model, I think.
Yeah, 83.
Yeah. 83. Yeah. I knew I was close. I got it in 84, but it was an 83 model. Yeah. I had the very first version of the night burner and loved it. Jumped the wig and whoops on it. God knows how I did that, because the geometry was disgusting.
Horrible bikes.
Yeah, they were horrible bikes. And do you know what? It rotted away behind a mate's shed. Gutted. Wow. I wish I had it now. I wish I had it to this day, just to look at. I know I can always look at a photo, but to have a proper one would be phenomenal. So anyway, you started with the extra burner, and how many did you have at the end of it? Didn't you have about 20?
Yeah, just shy of. I think about 17, 18 at one point. Too many. I sort of thinned that collection down. Sold most of them. I think I've maybe 3 left. Right up in the loft.
I'm sure one of them is the extra burner.
It's not. Bizarrely, it's not. No,
it's not. You traitor. No, you terrible individual. You.
I know. Yeah, that was my first restoration, and I wasn't overly happy with it. If I ever see one, a decent one that's been restored, I guess I would buy that one, because that was what I had originally. So yeah, I've got rid of that. Anyway, long story. Yeah, I'm going right around the houses here to get to where we started. So B73, I joined loads of BMX forums, old school BMX forums, and as a username, I needed a username. And I had a nickname when I played football, and my nickname at football, for obvious reasons, was Beard. Nobody called me by Dave. They used to say, when playing football, Beard was my name. That was my name on the football field. So Beard became my online name, and I was born in 1973, which obviously makes me quite old. So my online username was Beard1973, and that was my online persona for well over a decade. And when I was looking for a brand name for B73, for the sort of t-shirt and design graphic stuff, B73, Beard 1973 was sort of a strange title to have. So I shrunk it right down just to B73, which is, as you can see, on that skateboard behind me there as well. That's a sort of shrunken down Beard 1973. That's where the brand name sort of came from.
Ah, right, okay. There you go. I've had a history lesson. Fantastic. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff.
I forgot what the original question was.
I think it was about the craziest story in B73's history, not including the Robbie Williams one, and you said there was something connected.
Yeah. Before I was Beard 1973 as my username, and then it shrunk down to B73, and it was obviously I was into the restoring of the BMX bikes, and I guess that would be the coolest tale. Obviously, was the Robbie Williams thing. But my favourite story would probably be when I went to LA to spend time with Mr. Williams. I was invited to a party while I was over there, and he didn't tell me where we were going. Just to a neighbour's house across the road.
Please tell me it's the Playboy Mansion.
No, unfortunately not. No, it was. He asked me to guess whose house it was. He kept pointing out the window. You'll never guess who lives there.
Ozzy Osbourne.
Pretty close. I worked out fairly sharpish that it was someone of that genre, just because of the people that were coming and going from the house.
Right.
Got quite long hair.
Jammy buggers.
And one night we were there. I was there. Sorry.
I said jammy buggers having longer.
Yeah. yeah. While I was there,
sorry, I interrupted there, Dave. Sorry for a bold joke. I'm very sorry.
Lost my train of thought. Yeah, while I was over there, obviously, as you'll know, in America, Halloween is massive, isn't it?
Yeah.
They go all out. The houses get decorated and everything, and so the house opposite, where Robbie lives in Beverly Hills, while I was there, it was gradually getting more and more decorated with skeletons and pumpkins and things in the garden. There was a Halloween party taking place at Halloween, which was taking place while I was in LA at Robbie's house. And he calls me one morning and says, "Oh, we're going to a party tomorrow across the road." And I'm still not at this point where
the feed's crapped out, I think. Come back, Dave. He's gone. Where's he gone?
I'm back.
He's back. Hooray!
Back. Yeah. Anyway, he says to me, "We're going to a Halloween party tomorrow night." During the day, we went to a local Halloween fancy dress store, got fancy dress outfits for me, Robbie, and his wife, Ida. And we went to this Halloween party across the road. And it turned out to be Slash from Guns N' Roses.
Oh, my God. That's insane. And he's a BMXer as well, isn't he?
He is. You're right. Yes, he is. I'll get to another cool story. But yeah, we went across the road on the night of Halloween to Slash's house for a Halloween party. Now I have no idea who was there because it was fancy dress. I have no idea who I brushed shoulders with. I have no idea what other rock and roll royalty was in the room. Well, I guess that would be, if I was to write an autobiography, I guess one of the highlighting chapters would be going to a Halloween party at Slash's house from Guns N' Roses with Robbie Williams. That would take some topping.
That was. tell you what, the bar for crazy stories is already up here, Dave, and we're only on episode 1.
Yeah.
The rest of the BMX community have got some stories to beat. They've got some serious competition. That's insane.
Yeah, the sad thing is, and I've literally got maybe 6 photographs from the time I was there for a week, and I've literally got 6 photographs from the time, because I was sort of asked when I got there not to take, for obvious reasons, take photographs in his house, in his studio, and because he has a studio in the house. For privacy reasons, which I respected. I think I've got 6 photographs that I was allowed to take that we took together. But yeah, crazy experience was that.
Wow. Do you know what? I think that's actually quite a good place to wrap it up. Slash's house Halloween party. I don't think we can top that. So. Outstanding. Of all the things that we've talked about over the years, Dave, I don't think I knew about the Robbie Williams thing, but I did not know about you going to Slash's house.
Yeah, people have said like to me, what BMX? What have you got from BMX? What do you get from BMX? And it's the experiences. The LA thing, Robbie / all that. That's sort of up here, that sort of crazy stories that I don't really shout about it, because people either think you're making it up, it's too daft to believe, or they think you're bragging. So I've not sort of you're a close friend, so I think I've probably forgotten this is going out on a podcast, haven't
I? Yeah, absolutely.
I need to check my NDA, don't I?
I'm sure they won't mind.
No.
Yeah. Cool. That's just, that's one of the best stories I've ever heard, Dave. That is phenomenal. So as we wrap this up, is there anything else you want to add? Any thanks you want to give to people? It's your opportunity to shout out the people who've helped you on your journey, and I think it's only right that we do that. Yeah.
Other than your sort of self, as a commentator, there's also Neil Stewart, who has also been, like yourself, a great ambassador, sort of trackside, wearing his B73 t-shirts. When you did the BMX Hall of Fame, you guys had the little B73 on your t-shirts as well. So big shout out to both of you guys, because you have literally, yourself in particular, really pushed the brand. And I really, really, really appreciate your support. That's been brilliant. 2 other people that I really cannot let the podcast finish without thanking. First of all, in the very early days, JJ, Jonathan Hearn.
Yeah.
Former aficionado of 2024 BMX magazine. JJ took me under his wing when I first started doing the t-shirts, and allowed me to trade with him on his little 3x3 gazebo. We shared his 3x3 gazebo. He was selling the magazine. I was selling the 3 or 4 designs of t-shirts. And JJ got me my foot in the door, if I'm honest, in the BMX scene, because he was a respected character. And he continues to be a really good friend. We don't see half as much of each other as we used to do since the magazine sort of closed. So I must thank JJ, because he was instrumental in getting me trackside and helping me establish myself within the scene. And probably not shared this with anybody, but he allowed me free advertising in the magazine as a startup to get my brand some steps into the door. So I'll never forget the opportunities that JJ gave me. And also a big shout out to Rich Townsend at Pure, because from a trading angle, Rich has been although I'm older than Rich, I guess he's my younger brother, but he's like my big brother. He's my best mate trackside trader. Rich, we look after each other's stalls, and Rich has opened a lot of doors for me in the BMX world, because Rich is like yourself, a respected guy within the UK BMX scene. So massive thanks to Rich Townsend and the Pure family as well, because they've been instrumental. But yeah, and other than that, a massive shout out to yourself as well, because you have been a massive advocate of the brand. wearing my stuff trackside, buying my stuff, shouting about my stuff, sharing my stuff online. Can't thank you enough. Yeah.
Absolute pleasure, Dave. No problem at all. No problem at all. So,
Yeah.
like I say, you're a good guy, and you do it for the right reasons. So, helping you out is an absolute pleasure and a privilege.
Yeah. And if there's anybody that I've missed that thinks they played a huge part, there probably will be, because I'll get off this call, Rich, and I'll be like, I didn't mention so and so, and Emma will watch this and she'll be like, Dave, you never mentioned so and so. So anybody that's been involved in the B73 journey, from Robbie Williams to Jonathan Hearn, to Rich Townsend, to yourself, to Neil Stewart, to everybody at all the clubs that allow me to produce their merchandise, the teams that have got on board with myself, from the bottom of my heart, you guys, yeah, BMX is great. BMX is. People have often asked me that are outside the sport, what is it about the sport of BMX? And I don't think they realise. I always talk about the BMX family, and it really is a family.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. So,
because like a family, there's always the odd character in your family.
Yeah, there is. Absolutely.
But in the main, the 99.9% of BMX is absolutely rad, and yeah, it's a sport I've sort of fallen back in love with over the last 12 years, 13 years.
Cool. Right, I think we'll wrap it up right there, because I think it's a great spot to wrap it up. Dave, thank you. Look forward to seeing you trackside for many, many years to come. And one last thing, where does everybody find you if they want to check out B73Ts a little bit more?
Yeah, www.b73.co.uk, or if you're looking for anything outside of BMX from a graphic perspective, b73creative.com. You can find me on there. And can I just say thanks to you as well, Rich? And hopefully this is of the early days of this BMX podcast, and I wish you all the best with it, Rich, because you are one of the voices, if not the voice, of BMX in the UK and around the world. So I'm hoping that this goes from strength to strength, and it can only get better from here, Rich.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just building it one step at a time. Chatting to people. Let's just have conversations and just see where it leads. Yeah, smashing. Dave, thank you so much, and we'll see you trackside soon.
Cheers, Rich. You're a legend.
Thanks, mate. Cheers. See you soon.
Buddy.
Bye-bye. Bye.